episode of Diesel and the Beard.
Welcome back to Diesel and the Beard, episode 2. Fantasy news coming at you from the basement and living room of yours truly.
Yeah. Dorian R. Hartley Esquire.
Andrew J. Wilson, the Commish, a.k.a. the Bearded Bean Counter.
So, busy week. Trades.
Very.
Trades coming in. Busy week in the real NFL. Political issues at stake in the world. Yeah, just lots going on. So
yeah, we're gonna bring some news to you guys. We're gonna do some trade evals. There was a total of 8 trades since the primer dropped, and the primer dropped 9 days ago. So that's a pretty impressive daily average.
I wonder if we looked back on the league, how many trades happened in that tight a span. Like, I feel like the little podcast just ruffled everyone's feathers.
Oh.
And I think it worked. I think, we're just calling people out for bullshit, and then trades just started flying. If we were to look back to last year and take a sample size, I bet we haven't had this much, pre-draft activity in some time.
I agree. Pre-draft, we always get that little bump. There's always a run in October when somebody, it's always a race to rebuild. I feel there's one guy that'll just, he'll throw the post up on the Facebook page, and it's like the dominoes start to fall.
Yeah, I think the right guys had the picks to shop this year, because normally this time of year I'm looking at a draft starting in the 5th round. I've got no equity.
You'll throw a couple lines in the water. You'll have the Julio chat with a couple people, and then that'll just crumble.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, we'll get you back into the 2nd and 3rd round, but you got to give up on your keepers, and then you just never ends up happening. This year, I was like, whatever, I'll be active. I'm just trading to trade at this point. So,
we're definitely gonna do some eval. I'll do the evaluation on your trades just so that there's no bias. We'll get a background on why you made them. I think that's cool.
Sure.
You sent me that cool question, so we're gonna discuss the top 5 and bottom 5 GMs, but we haven't talked we haven't shared each other's. So I think that'll be cool to see how many of these guys that consider greasy.
We've got to talk about waiver wire winners and week 1 losers. Discussion on mechanics, and then planning to bring in the new fantasy matchmaker. To be like a pre-draft matchmaker, which is kind of
fun. We're gonna do some cupiding. Keeper cupids.
Loving your friends. Then
no new friends.
And then some trade evaluations, and then NFL news. So where do you want to kick off?
Well, you know what? Since we got to the trades, let's just jump right to that, because
Sure.
I think that's a hot topic, and if someone's gonna jump in and jump out on the pod, we might as well give them some juice up front. So
yeah, all right. And everybody wants to get talked about. I don't know if if your phone was getting blown up like my phone was, where it was like, you guys didn't mention me. I want my participation cookie. I did this in the league. I made this trade last year. You guys are biased. Well, first of all, it's our fucking podcast. Just we're going to talk about our own teams. That's what I know the best. I don't know what Cody's shit boys are doing. Like, yeah, you should talk about how we start my draft in the 11th. Like, no one gives a fuck. But anyways, to keep everyone happy, we'll talk about everyone else's team, and we'll judge you accordingly, because on this particular platform, we are the judge, the jury, and the executioner.
That's right.
And it's all opinion based, so I can say whatever I want. And so
Absolutely.
can AJ. So
absolutely, and we will. So the first trade I'm going to throw up into your wheelhouse is it actually features myself and Cody. This actually was negotiated while you guys were talking Mahomes Kelsey. So I took advantage of a little breakdown there, and I flipped Cortland Sutton and my ninth round, to him for an upgrade of 3 rounds.
Sure. So I mean, it's hard to talk winners and losers of trades this early, because I think you both won.
Mhm.
You cashed in on a good young player that just wasn't able to get kept on your roster.
Mhm.
Cody increased his depth
Mhm.
without really giving anything. I mean, it's kind of something for Cody because his draft is weak, but
Mhm.
he improves at the position. He gets a guy he can start week in, week out,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
at least bought like as a flex at least. So it's like, who wins this? It's hard to say. You both got what you wanted. So I mean, I
Mhm.
know win wins the cliche, but I mean, I think that's a
No,
good move for Cody. I think it's a good move for
that's
you.
that's fair. No, I mean, I'm definitely there are times, I don't call them draws.
Hmm.
Sometimes the trade is just it's mutually beneficial.
Both teams
So,
improved. You
well,
improved
okay.
draft, and Cody improved keeper.
Let's not go through the Rosie trade then, because that's pretty much the same thing. Let's jump right to the trade where I moved Aaron Jones out to Craig.
That was a huge trade actually because I had a line in the water on this one,
Hmm.
and
Would you beat that though? Were you prepared to beat that?
I was gonna go 2-2. As I kind of was gonna go 2-3 was the offer, and then I was gonna say I'll settle at a 2-2 because that's kind of what I think was fair. Wasn't gonna give up a one, so I asked you the night before. I said, "What's the current offer at?"
Mhm.
And Cody came out of the fucking woodwork with this Mahomes deal, and I'm sure if anyone's watching this podcast, he's probably shopped it to you too because he came with the I can't win with top end talent only. I'm looking to move Mahomes. I'm like, I'm already going in a direction. I've been waiting for this draft for a year and a half now, and I'm ready
Yep.
to. And he comes in with this, like, I want to do a Mahomes deal. I say, okay. He wants a crazy amount of picks back. It was just like not even.
Well, you got the 1-3, right? So.
Yeah, so it whittled down, and then what happened was I had an offer that he had accepted in theory. There was one player
Mhm.
that needed to switch places. The picks were good, the other player was good, and a player had to get switched out. And
Mhm.
he said, if you send me that offer with the other player, it's a done deal. So when I went to bed, I asked you about Aaron Jones, but I knew if I did that deal with you with Jones, the Mahomes deal would be dead.
Right.
I wake up, I say, fuck it, I'm going to do the deal with Cody. I
Mhm.
flip the players, give him the deal he asked for. He said it was a done deal.
Mhm.
And then Cody gives me, I've changed my mind. The price has gone up now. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? I
The
go
old
back to
bait and
you,
switch.
and you say, sorry, buddy, Jones is gone. So that's the story in short. I was going to tear Cody in half for doing that bullshit kind of stuff. But you know what, Cody? I'm going to let it slide because you apologized and you were truthful with me. And you basically
Mhm.
came out and said, I just got scared. I didn't want to pull a big trade. And that's as honest as you can get. So I'm not going to rip into you about
Nice.
your
Nice. The
that.
fantasy olive branch has been
Yes,
extended,
I'm not
Cody.
going to defamate anyone's character. But back to the point, I think, again, fuck, another good trade. Must be hard for you to let go your guy. You're a Packers fan. It's,
Yeah, I definitely found it. You know what? Honestly, Dorian, it was tough. And I think I mentioned to you I had a little buyer's remorse, but I mean, at the end of the day, it came down to this. Am I going to keep Aaron Jones, my boy? I mean, there's a G on the other side of this hat, but I have to keep him over Dalvin Cook or Alvin Kamara. Would you do either of those?
I wouldn't know, not personally.
So, short of moving Devonte Adams, who was the most, I fielded the most interest about him. I've never fielded this much interest in any player before.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted
Um,
him too. I mean, I going into the league right now, Rogers is my keeper, and I would love that stack.
oh man,
But
that
again,
stack.
you're kind of facing with a fantasy hangover because
Hmm.
obviously your team was good, you won.
Hmm.
Now you have players that you can't keep and you have to drop, and you're selling them for probably less than their value is truly worth.
Oh, that's
That's
the
just kind
sick
of
part.
it's part
That's
of
the
it,
sick
man.
part. What did I give you for him? I got him from you last year, and I paid you
It was
one.
a
It was a
one,
one,
two,
two.
three, maybe a
Yep.
four, but 1, 2, 3 for
Yep.
sure. I forget if it
Yep.
was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Might have just been
Yep.
1, 2, 3. But regardless, so it's part of it. I've been to 4 championships now. I've only got one title, which everyone
Hmm.
likes to rub in my face. But the truth of it has been to 4 championships.
Which
Two of
is,
them, two of them, I lost within a point. It was a combined point.
yep.
I think it was a combined point,
Between you and
roughly.
I, it was
Yeah. No,
0.86,
there's
I
two
believe.
two entire championships because I lost to
Yeah.
Ed by fraction of a point and I lost to you by
Mhm.
fraction of a point. So it's a 1 point. And I know what it's like because my teams are good. And then I go into off season. You got 8 great guys. You got to keep 5. You got to move the rest. And you end up
Yep.
giving away studs for fucking draft picks. It's like, it's better than dropping them. So it's kind of
That's
one of
and that.
those,
If
it's the
I'm being
fantasy
honest with you,
hangover.
man,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest with you, the reason I didn't wait for you is because I knew you had something going on. I know you're always working on something, and we'll get to that. But I felt that pressure, that pressure of dropping him for nothing. I mean, that makes me sick in my stomach.
Take it. Yeah, take it. You have to take it. And I think you got probably a fair deal, really. It was a 9-10 back. No, 9-10-11 back.
Oh, I got out of the final 3 rounds. I mean, I'm done in the 8 now.
2, 3, 4. Yeah. I mean, I've been fielding offers for running back. Or sorry, I've been fielding asking prices for running backs all week.
Yep.
And that's a steal for Jones. I mean, Matt Reynolds wanted a 1-3 for Chris Carson, who's not only coming off
actual discussion. That's not just like was what it was.
Yeah, I asked the price on it. He said 1-3. I giggled and moved forward on to, and I said 1-3. And he gave me the old starting running back in Seattle, which is a triple-headed monster now with Hyde and Rashard Penny. And he's coming off a hip surgery. And the real backbreaker for me, why I didn't do it, was I gave Carson to Reynolds last year for less than he was asking me.
You gave me Jones. Yeah, man. Honestly, that's dope. Think about that for a sec.
Yeah,
think about that. Reynolds and I both met in the championship, carrying your tools in our tool belt.
Yeah, from my previous year drop, which actually wasn't a particularly good year for me, really. So
you were too early.
I'll take that as a compliment. But yeah, so in terms of running back prices, I think that's a great deal for
I feel
Craig.
Like
and I think it's a great deal for you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, well, I'll accept that. So what I want to do then is, it was a nice segue from Cody, kind of holding your attention hostage there for a night and a half. Yeah. So you had an opportunity, and I don't know, Loudon obviously remembers, but on the last podcast, you talked about Loudon being one of the more written off, one of the more written off owners in terms of, you having success with him. And so, it's really awesome to see this next trade. So I'll throw it up there. So Dorian got his guy, Melvin Gordon getting a full off season without a holdout, getting a new team. Yeah, he has to share with Philip Lindsay, but you took a 4 back. Yeah.
Well, my draft ended in the 4th, so I really didn't want to just more so for time on draft day. I don't want to have draft's done in the 4 except for an 11th or a
whatever
10th
the reason.
Or a 9th.
Man, that's just if we're being honest, you sent the 1-7 and Tariq Cohen as a throw-in. That's a good price. I mean, I think that's exactly what he's valued at right now. But the real sneaky play here, which I don't think anyone picked up on, I certainly did. I think it tips the favor to you by getting just a 4. He could have given you an 11.
Yeah. I mean,
you would have paid that.
Yeah, and my exact words to him were, but I mean, a 1 is a good asking price, because he's got to drop.
No,
I was actually going after a different running back who I thought there was tons of value in, and
who were you going after?
I was going after Raheem Mostert because I liked San Diego or San Francisco. You and I talked a little bit about it, and we were like, this guy's primed for an opportunity. San Francisco's good. Their O-line's good. Yep. So I was like, what? If he's going to drop him. Yeah. So I was going after Mostert, and Loudon actually surprised me and goes, actually, I like Mostert. I'm keeping him. And I said, well, wow. That's actually a little bit of foresight I didn't expect coming. So I'm like, well, then who are you dropping? He's like, do you want Melvin Gordon? And Melvin Gordon is a little bit more risky, right? Because he took the year off. I mean, there's a shared backfield everywhere in the NFL.
He's still young, though, man.
But they didn't bring him in and give him $8 million to not fucking make him the bell cow. And I know Cody would disagree.
Devontae Booker. They have Royce Freeman, and they have Philip Lindsay. If you're asking me what the signing of Melvin Gordon tells me, and it's in your favor with this deal, that when they sign Melvin Gordon, this is all you have to do. If you're playing fantasy sports, so this is for our non-KFFL audience and our KFFL audience alike. Look at what the team does and ask yourself what would motivate the team. These guys that run these teams, they have a lot on the line. They have a lot. They're fired. You have a small window of opportunity. So if you're the GM in Denver and you already have a successful Philip Lindsay and a flat Royce Freeman, if you ask me, I owned him. They signed Melvin Gordon. That tells me one thing. That tells me that they didn't believe in Philip Lindsay. And what I mean by that is he's a scat back, third down back. He's not a first and second down back. So they thought he was overachieving. He is. Everyone that watches football He doesn't have the build to take the 3-down back job.
He's a walk-on, is he not? Can he get into the NFL?
Yeah, which is impressive.
Walk-on college player, walk-on NFL player, like runs like hell. I love the way he plays.
I do too.
But Melvin Gordon, I mean, if we're talking, the year didn't happen where he took a year off. He is in the top 3 running backs in the league.
He was
in San Diego, who didn't particularly have a good O-line at the time.
No.
He can catch, he can block, and he can run. And he's an every down back, and he can be a goal line back. So for me, I'm like, if Melvin Gordon is available in the 1/7 in our dynasty draft, do I take him there? And the answer for me every time is 100%. Yes.
He should be 1-1.
Yeah, he probably would be. So the fact is like, yeah, I gave up a 1, but I think there was good value in it. Could he be a bust? Yeah. The real thing that got me was his salary, and the fact that Denver paid him $8 million fucking dollars says.
Is that the salary?
Yeah. So it's like you're not paying this guy to give him an opportunity, like to maybe get some touches. It's like he's the guy. Philip Lindsay's going to take touches away from him if he's playing good, but I think it's going to be a 60-40 split at worst for Gordon, probably more like a 70-30 if we're being realistic. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I think that was exactly what you needed. It was a recovery. Honestly, it was one of those things I saw that I was like, oh, wow, well done. Well fucking done. And, nice bounce back.
And
so
I'll say that Loudon was good to deal with. So, Corey, I called you out for not being good last time, and you and I went through that deal with, like, almost relatively no ease. You said what you wanted. I said, sure. There wasn't much of a discussion on pick. I think at one point he tried to add something. I said, come on, man. He's like, yeah, you're right. Let's just get this done.
The answer's no unless you ask, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, so.
Good. No, that's awesome. Well, the next trade I want to throw down is, there's a few. Let's do another Loudon trade. So he buys Dak, and the reason I'm going to pick this one is because I don't know how you feel about keeping quarterbacks. I mean, okay, I'm keeping Lamar Jackson. My brother's keeping Patrick Mahomes. You're keeping Aaron Rodgers. Because of Rodgers' upside, I think that it's acceptable. I'm also biased, but I think that he had the highest week of any fantasy player last year with 69 points.
Oh yeah.
If you want to put that guy as one of your keepers, I mean, his upside is obviously immense. But outside of those 3 guys, I find it hard to justify. I hate when I hear people talk about the total points. It's like, I don't care. It's a quarterback. There's tons of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like I took Lamar Jackson in the 11th round last year.
I mean, that's a fucking anomaly, but
Cody took Patty Mahomes in like the 10th round, the year he got him.
They're there. They are there for sure.
This is what I'm saying.
Rodgers is currently a keeper. But I'm not saying but anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. Then I want to get your take, Dorian. So the deal is Loudon trades with Reynolds, and this is great on you, Reynolds. You did a magic trick. You turned into a Houdini. He sends Loudon Dak Prescott and his very last pick in the draft for a round 3 pick, which I think still has value.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, and I know why Loudon is going to justify it, I'm sure, by saying, and him and I have talked, but I can't really recall exactly what he said. I like Dak Prescott. I think that he would go before the 3rd, but it's not about that. He's dropping Stephon Diggs.
Yeah. Yeah, he really didn't like Diggs, actually, and
he's in Buffalo now.
Maybe I shouldn't say that, but we were talking about it, and he wanted to throw Diggs into the trade. I just don't have room for him, and I know Loudon didn't want him because why is he trying to get rid of him if he did? Buffalo's hard.
Not a prolific passer.
That's true too. Buffalo's hard for receivers getting into the fucking later months of the year when there's blizzards and snowballs and it's snowy.
Man.
The receivers there, they don't flourish. They're not in a dome down in New Orleans or Atlanta. They're in a fucking shitty climate. Balls are hard to catch. It's cold. It's slippery. It's windy. I don't want anything to do with Buffalo receivers ever. I had
John Brown.
Yeah.
And you know what? Any receiver in any NFL offense that has no one around them but Cole Beasley, they're gonna bring in some balls, and he did
get some looks, some targets.
But how many scores did he had?
It's hard.
It was Frank Gore time.
Now back to Dak. Fuck. I don't like it, man. I just don't like – he is not in the tier of quarterbacks you should be keeping. He's just not. The reason I'm going with Rodgers is because I traded for him last year, and I thought I'd be able to stack him with maybe Devontae Adams. I mean, that's not dead to me. Maybe it is to you. But
Alan Lazard.
Also, I'm hearing Rogers playing for a contract. So,
Mm-hmm.
second year with new coach, second year under new offensive scheme. He's got Devontae healthy and ready to go. They've got some sort of running game starting to heat up now, which they haven't had in years past. I like Rogers. So, is he a keeper for me right now? Yes. Could that change on draft day? 100%. Dak Prescott, I think there'll be better guys available, in my opinion, in the draft at the pick that Loudon gave up, the 326, than Dak Prescott. So,
well, just as a reference point, I'm going to open up the player pool. It's not completely updated, but for quarterbacks it is. So Dak was the first available quarterback available, but that's a technicality because under him is Josh Allen, unless he's getting kept by Jake. But then after that, we've got guys like Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan, and Tom Brady. Who else do we have? Matt Stafford. To me, those guys are all in a very like Matt Stafford's. He could potentially throw for 5,000 yards.
And and now he's got some weapons. So, Galladay, Jones is healthy. DeAndre Swift is going to be catching a lot of little checkdowns. Hawkinson. So, Stafford's got more weapons than ever.
Goff, Mayfield.
Yeah.
E-Roth, Big Ben.
Yeah, everyone sleeps on Ben. I like that. But hey, so.
But yeah, back to that trade. I mean, I personally, and so I understand, why he did it, and the mechanics technically work, but I'll leave it at that. I'll give that trade an F. So
yeah, I'll say Reynolds won that just because Reynolds dropped someone he didn't want. He knows there's value in late rounds quarterbacks. He got a 3 out of the deal, so that's fine. That being said, I don't think it's a season breaker one way or another. I think Loudon still drafts a backup quarterback, and but I also don't like that Dalton's in Dallas. Ew. Why bring in Dalton?
That is Tannehill feel.
Yeah, I guess, but I mean, anyways.
All right, so let's move on here. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the waiver mechanics, because the waiver mechanics are interesting in that they're pretty common, but if you're in a different style or type of league, they might not be. So basically what happens is, and this is for the new guys mainly, but if you needed a refresher, then that's fine. So what happens is Monday night is the end of the week. Tuesday, your offers go in, and Wednesday morning around, do you know what time it is, Dorian? Wednesday morning?
3 or 4 a.m., I think.
Yeah, it's around in the morning. Your claims, if successful, will be automatically processed. So, but what that means is, depending on your standings from the previous week, which ended on Monday, the waiver resets every week. And so it's based on how you finished. And so this leads me to a little tidbit of advice. And I'm sharing this for everyone, not just the KFFL. Like I said, the audience is growing. And so one of the things you can find a silver lining in week 1 is if you lose. And I'll use an example. Last year, I lost week 1. I grabbed Terry McLaurin because I had a top waiver pick, and he had a good week 1 and a great preseason. So I took a risk on him and I grabbed him. He ended up being a crucial piece in me landing Tyreek Hill. Silva will contest, or Silva will agree. The point of what I'm trying to say is, if you lose week 1, you are going to get, in this style of league, especially in the KFFL, a solid waiver grab. And there are going to be guys that are the problem with the number 1 waiver pick later in the season is what the question I get. And the answer to that is, it's picked bone dry by that point.
Right.
Because with the waiver mechanics, you have everyone going to free agency after they're not picked, right?
Right.
And so later on in the week, people will pick through that. And after a few weeks of that, and after a few weeks of high priority guys, what do you have left on the waiver? So my point is, that's how the mechanics work. And in week 1, if you end up losing, it sometimes can be, and most of the time can be, like, have you had any good stories or any good goings on with an early season loss waiver grab?
I actually, in years past, have been underactive on the waiver because I don't buy into overreaction Monday, which is the first week of the season. That's like a thing in my head. I don't overreact on Monday because the guys I draft are for a reason. So if, Marvin Jones in Detroit goes off for 3 TDs week 1 and somebody I draft in Jerry Jeudy doesn't do shit, he's got 3 catches for 40 yards. Do I switch that out? Maybe that's a bad example because you got a vet.
No, you got to ride your guys, though. I totally get it.
Yeah, I tend to stick with, I drafted this guy for a reason. If there's a really good thing, an injury, I'll plug out an injury and put somebody in. But I'm actually going to change that around a bit. I think I'm going to be more active and just, take guys that are producing and not be so stuck on a guy if I need to drop them. But the flip side is that sometimes you drop a guy, pick up a guy. The guy you pick up shit weeks 2, 3, and 4, and the guy you drop is good, right? So that's why I don't like to overreact, and that's why trades don't happen early in the season. Nobody wants to trade because their guy's only got a week, and it might be good, and he might break out, he might not. But I've actually
100%.
read about online, and this is for the non-KFFL listeners, a strategy exclusively trying to lose weeks 1 and 2 to see what cream comes to the top and get your guys that way.
100%,
and then
man.
run the table for the rest of the season. So it actually is
100%.
a strategy that people talk about.
You've heard of that?
Yep, I've read about it. Losing weeks 1, 2, and 3 in some cases.
Well, the only problem with that is we only play 13 weeks, right? So, you have to be pretty confident. I mean, you've done it. You have done that. You have done that where you'll start shit and then you end up surging. So, but the first week for sure, 0-1's nothing. I've won championships clearly going 0-1.
Yeah, but you can get into playoffs easily with 8-8 records. So,
that's true.
That's true. Lose. Okay, 2 weeks, maybe I would say 3 weeks is a bit much, but you get a Terry McLaren and he starts lighting it up, or whoever. It can be a worthwhile strategy.
So this is what I want to do. Let's flip the switch here, and I want to jump right to who your top 5 GMs in the KFFL are to deal with.
Yeah, so I was looking at that, and it'd be hard to do 5 bottom, 5 top, or 5
I did
top. I did you? You got 5?
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people that are just in the middle. So I think I
have
went.
To sift through them, bud. Some's gold, some's dirt.
So here's my top GMs to trade with, and one of them is actually going to be surprising. So you're up there. The only problem with you is your shit a little bit too much, so there's no pulling the wool over your eyes. But the other thing you like doing, which I like, you don't get married to name brands, and you're willing to move anyone based on the numbers. And guys that look at players in terms of numbers versus names is always it's something I like because it's not like I'm not trading him. That's whoever. That's Tyreek Hill. It's like whatever. What did he produce? I can give you. So I like that about you. Silva's always good. And for 2 reasons. And the other thing that you're good with, you always answer your phone. And if you don't like a trade, you be like, no, I'm not interested. I hate guys who hey, you want to do a deal? Yeah, make me an offer. Well, what's in play here? Give me some context. I'm not just going to send you fucking random offers. You can be like, yes or no, or yes or no. Let's whittle down. Silva's in my top because Silva always answers his phone.
Okay.
And he's willing to he makes deals. He'll do anything. He'll do big boy deals. I mean, him and Nielsen have been a little slow. I called them out, and now they're just going, gangbusters all over the league trying to do blockbusters.
Oh, I'll support that. I got Tyreek off them. They wheel and deal. It's just the same kind of thing, you said.
Yeah. I don't think I said they weren't active. I said it's hard to deal with 2 GMs.
Yeah.
One guy might like someone, one not like. The hard part of Silva is you could be like, hey, I need a receiver because my guy went down. He's going to be out 3 weeks. Do you want to do a receiver deal? And then Silva will sip on his rye and he'd be like, okay, what if we do this? A full team swap. What the fuck?
Yeah, man. It's like a disclaimer. It's a rye disclaimer. If it's past midnight and Silva's been into the rye playing PGA 2K with the boys, I have to say to him or not say anything at all because I feel like I'm gonna. I don't know. I feel like it might even be great. It could be great.
Yeah. Jake Chalmers. And I actually have no dealings with him in this league yet, but I know him as a GM from other leagues. And he's relatively easy to deal with. First of all, he's always down to talk a trade, which I like because even if he's just always like, hey, let's talk. He's like, yeah, let's do this. You can sit down. You can get somewhere. And especially with football, we've already been talking some decent-sized trades, and he's not trying to, swing for the fences, and he's not trying to, overly win. He's just willing to mix it up. Yeah, that's in there. So those would be my 3 top. And my 3 bottoms, I mean, Loudon would have been in there until we just got this trade done. So I'm going to pull Loudon out of there Chad Storing, hardest GM in my opinion to deal with because he wants everything. If you ask him what he wants for Saquon, we're not talking picks. We're talking about gold bullion. So Chad's a hard GM to deal with. You can get deals done with him, but he's also very knowledgeable. And guys that are knowledgeable
You're not going to
are
get
hard
deals
to
done
deal
with Chad. He's going to try and send you waiver guys he just grabbed, and we both know it. And he knows it. I'm talking to you, big cat. You know you've done it. I've played baseball with him for 10 years. He'll send you an offer, and then I'll just let it ruminate on my alerts. And the next fucking day, the guys are on the waiver wire. The bad guy.
Who else is in my bottom? You know what? This guy probably shouldn't be there, but Matt Reynolds, just for that fucking Chris Carson shit you pulled, you're in my black book right now because.
Give me one more.
One more? I mean, after this week, I said I wasn't going to rip him on air publicly, but Cody Wilson, you know what you did, and tisk tisk, and I'll leave it at that.
Tisk tisk. Let's see how we compare, Dorian.
Yeah, okay, give it to me. What do you like?
So just so everybody can see, I don't know if that's visible.
No, it's not very, but
it's coming.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Craig Powell,
so,
JV
can everyone see that? Okay, I'll read it out.
You have JV on both lists.
It's a dual list, man. I had to. Okay, and I'll tell you why. We'll get to that. I did that on purpose, obviously. So, the top 5 in no particular order. Craig is reasonable. He's gone through spurts. I mean, we're in our 10th year in the KFFL, so we've had some ups and downs, but he's always down to trade. Even this year, we got some, because my style, Dorian, is similar to yours. I'm probably a little bit more middling than you. You're a good negotiator, but I'll usually come in and I'm like, you know what, man? I know I want a 1, but if you do a 2, 3, 4 right now, it's done. And Craig's open to that. He'll meet me in the middle. Some guys will just keep pulling me over to their side. And it's like, I feel that. And I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
So he's there. I did 5. Cody Powell's always, he'll go through ups and downs, but Cody Powell and I have done some trades. In fact, he's gotten the best of me. He got George Kittle 2 years ago at the end of the season, and I was trading for a defense.
Wow.
Ew.
Good foresight.
Jake's great. I've dealt with him in other leagues. So Dorian, you and I are the same on that. JV wants to trade. He's just, I think he's maybe stubborn or he's a processor and he takes time. Took me 6 weeks of trade negotiations last year to get, or 2 years ago to get Kamara.
Yeah, see, I can't put that much time in. I actually went after a running back for him this year. I asked him about one guy in his team, and he just giggled, and he said something along the lines of, like, one of your rental properties, and I was like, okay, moving on. And
what do you think he did to me with Kamara? It was the same, and I had to come back and back and back, and so I like him for that. Now, bottom 5. Chad's the hardest guy to deal with, period. And he's there on the list. You guys saw it. That was sent at 5:06. It's 8:23.
Yeah.
And Dorian and I did not confer on this. So Chad's difficult for all of the above things I said, including the waiver shit. And you know what? He's a good fantasy GM. So, I can't take anything away from him. I'm just not going to deal with him because he's like Casey Jones running around the park beating up on children with the cricket bat.
Oh my God. I tried to go after Saquon from him, and I think I gave him a blank check, and he just laughed and went on with his day. I was like,
he's not a bad GM. He wanted a shout out, and I'll give him a shout out. He took over an expansion team and he won a championship. It can't be, good for you, man.
Did Chad win 2 years ago?
He has he won 2018. I won 2019. He still has the trophy.
Well done, Chad. Hey, you're a champ, so you're doing something right.
Let's round this list out. Loudon, and then so Loudon's on that list, and that's just because he doesn't trade a lot. Loudon, I'm not chirping you. You just don't trade a lot. That immediately puts you in my bottom 5. My brother, me and my brother actually get deals done, but he's got to be in a certain mood. And straight up, that nonsense that he pulled, I mean, it's just time wasting. He held your time ransom. That's the only thing I cared about. I didn't like. So, and then Reynolds. I mean, when you told me you were going to keep David Montgomery, I just immediately was like, was your finals appearance a fluke?
Shit.
I don't know, man. We'll see. We will see week 1 when we see each other.
Funny. So wait, how did JV get on both lists? I need the bad now.
Because it took me 6 weeks to get a fucking deal done. Okay. So it took me 6 weeks and we got a deal done. He moved Kamara, but then it took me 6 weeks.
Here's
I had a reminder on my phone.
Yeah, you need one. Here's the other thing in this league which I hate. If you ask me what I want for someone and then I throw a price at you, don't take it as it's a fucking retail sticker at the store. I'm starting a negotiation. Somebody would be like, what do you want for Julio? I'd be like 3 1s. And they'd be like, fuck, I don't even have 3 1s. Okay, well, what do you have? Is it a 1-2-2? Is it a 1-1-2? That's just a start. If I'm selling something on Kijiji and I want $500 for it, I post it for 1,000. Because by the time they lowball me and we get through all the shit, I'm meeting at my price. So other GMs, you need to do that too. Is just negotiate more, get somewhere with the trade, because it's not just so cut and dry. Oh, do you want to move Julio? Well, not really, but this is my price. Then you work from there. So just oh, that's a lot. Never mind. So little tidbit for you guys out there. Work on your negotiation game.
Yeah, Dorian, you're a master negotiator, so I can tell why people would be intimidated. Let's move on here. I want to jump over to our fantasy matchmaker, and we're going to do this improv style. This is all on the fly. So I'm going to open up my handy 2020 KFFL franchise primer, which is updated. I'm going to open up the old depth chart with presumed keepers. So the point of this, this is an opportunity for us to share some wisdom for the non-KFFL viewers, and also this is a direct line to your fantasy front office, boys.
Yeah.
Past champions. Dorian's been to 4 finals. I've got 3 titles. I mean, between us, we basically have run ramshot over some of your buttholes. B-holes.
Butthole.
So anyways, let's start with Jake Chalmers' team. So the point of what we're going to do here, just before we roll out this first one, is we're going to pick one of their keepers, and we're going to sort of offer up a match made in heaven with someone else in the league.
Yeah.
Basically just looking at the rosters and maybe who they have to drop, or if someone's keeping someone else that's just trash, you can call that shit out too. So
I like it.
So Jake's keeping Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Calvin Ridley, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Josh Allen. So that, again, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Calvin Ridley, Juju, and then Josh Allen. He's dropping Devin Singletary, Will Fuller, Robbie Anderson, Sony Michel. Those are the big ones.
Yeah. So, okay. I don't mind what Jake's doing. Josh Jacobs, young. Miles Sanders, good. I like Ridley and Juju. Josh Allen, I don't know how I feel about that. I might, if I was Jake, consider keeping Devil Singletary, who's pretty much going to get the backfield in Buffalo. I like running backs in Buffalo for the same reason I dislike receivers in Buffalo, because when the shitty weather comes, they get lots of balls. Don't mind Josh Allen, but you might be able to get a better quarterback in a later round, so I would consider that. And I think he could upgrade maybe a tad at receiver because his draft is very good. Pitts, I mean, I would probably go Juju just because Roethlisberger is supposed to be playing, but he's always a question mark. And if Mason Rudolph's throwing, then Juju's stock drops. And I think he could probably upgrade maybe a tad at receivers. So, guys that have good receivers in the league, I mean, Juju's pretty good. So, I think he could go out and get like maybe a big deal done with, let me see. Like maybe Loudon. Like Loudon gets rid of Hopkins and
Diggs.
Oh, Diggs. Yeah, Diggs. But do you like Diggs more than Juju?
Listen, if I'm Loudon, I guess we can both chime in here. It doesn't hurt. So if I'm Loudon, I'm moving Diggsy over to Jake. Jake drops Josh Allen and picks Josh Allen up. Look at his draft. You could pick Josh Allen up at 223 or 224 if you wanted. If you really wanted him, you could jump on him at 111.
Yeah.
I just think a guy like Stephon Diggs is going to go top 5.
Really?
He's a known starting number 1 receiver.
Well, there you have it, Jake. Drop Allen, go to Loudon, pick up your boy, and fucking redraft Josh Allen. That's a play right there.
So let's jump to Loudon. So Loudon's keeping Ezekiel Elliott, Raheem Mostert, DeAndre Hopkins, the newly acquired Dak Prescott, and Chris Godwin. I'm going to say that the Hopkins, Elliott, Godwin are just locks.
Yeah.
Prescott, Mostert. I mean, he just traded a 3 for Dak, so he's obviously going to keep him.
Well, I mean, he's kind of already set his path. He's not going to back on that now, but a move would have been just keeping Diggs and drafting Dak. Probably he does have the 1-2. I don't know if you take, but really you could have used the 1-2. If you like Dak that much, you could keep Diggs and redraft Dak if you liked Dak that much at 1-2. Is like having a sixth keeper because Jake's probably not going to reach on Dak especially if he keeps Allen.
We know that Jake's taking CEH.
I know.
Cat's out of the bag.
As I like to call him,
He's
I don't like him. I don't like him
either.
I've already got the text message. I said to Jake, bust. Because he's not the best running back. He's just in the best position. And I watched running back footage all fucking day yesterday. I watched on the big three, and I watched some of the later guys too. And there's some runners that people are severely undervaluing, and he's just in the best position. But you know what? As Jake, new guy in the league, he'd be stupid not to take him almost because it would show It would show some real fucking fantasy GM guff if he said, fuck that guy. I'm going after who I want for my own team. And took who he wanted, you know. We all know he's a fucking Detroit Lions fan, and DeAndre Swift.
Did you send him that Swifty pack you sent me this morning? The highlight pack?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was something else. Anyone out there, Dorian, you should share that on the Facebook wall. DeAndre Swift.
I don't want people getting all hot and horny over my boys, you know. So.
Whatever, man. You pick third. If they want to take. If JT.
Well, I don't want to have to be forced to take fucking CEH. So if Jake reaches and Loudon reaches, then I got to take shit, boy, and that's just bust city.
Okay. Let's move on. So Dorian, your team is. I mean, I'll just be quick on your team because we've talked a lot about both our teams. Julio, Melvin Gordon, David Johnson, Aaron Rodgers, and the newly acquired Odell Beckham Jr. We didn't talk about that trade, but that was a solid trade. So if I'm talking about your team, I'm looking at the Aaron Rodgers keep. So Aaron Rodgers keep we talked about it. It's justified. Yeah. But if I'm looking at some of the other guys being dropped, one of the names I really like is Marlon Mack. He's a starter. He's a potential piece to trade to someone like Jake. If he takes off and JT stutters, you could easily compensate him that way. But at the end of the day, it's going to cost you something. And you've assembled yourself such a draft that you're done in the 5th. So it's almost too perfect. I mean, it's like a pond without a wake. You've got this beautiful little oyster shell in front of you that's opening to a pearl, potentially.
Yeah, you're right.
So I can't pick too much at it, so I'll move on. You've done a great job recovering. So Silva and Nielsen, I mean, let's talk about a recovery on a major scale. I'd love to bring up, I should have had it prepared. I think the only guy that they had from a previous year, now that AJ Green is gone, is Leonard Fournette.
Really?
So they're keeping, you got this up in front of you, Dorian?
I do, yeah.
So they're keeping Kyler Murray, who's, I mean, one of the most silent assassins right now. Leonard Fournette, obviously, he's on the bit of a decline. With new management there. Terry McLaurin they have the best young up and coming receiving duo in Terry McLaurin and AJ Brown. Like, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they have the number 1 and number 2 receiver next year or close to it. I mean, those two guys, Terry McLaurin's the best route runner in the league at his age anyways. He's ridiculous. And AJ Brown, I mean, I'm not sure. We'll have to see what happens with Tannehill. Tannehill's efficiency last year was just off the charts. So if he regresses, I think Brown regresses.
We can't really say anything about this team, to be honest, because honestly, this could look completely different by draft day. I know for a fact that 4 of the names in this keeper list that they have in front of me have been offered up in trades as early as today and yesterday.
Really?
I know that. So I'm not going to say with who or for what or what, but this team could look completely different. So there's no point in me being like, I don't know, Mark Andrews having the 3rd-ranked tight end as a keeper when you could just,
Chark.
Shark. Don't sleep on Brown either, man. I like Brown. I don't know why. He's just big play, home run hitter. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It's like, what are we picking at here? This team could look completely different by Sunday.
Done. Let's put a nail in that one. Let's move on to Cody Powell.
Ooh, marriage man. He's a little too married to his guys. I literally sent him a text saying blank check, and he didn't even reply back to me, which is kind of crazy. If anyone sends me a message that says blank check, I'm at least going to throw out a crazy fucking stupid nuts offer to be like, how blank is this check? He just ignored it completely. So I don't think he really even wants any help, but don't mind his team. I'm never a fan of keeping tight ends, even if they're as good as Kittle.
Well, let's spit it out because we got to give the audience something that we're talking about. So CMC, George Kittle, the aforementioned.
Yeah.
He made a move for James Conner. Great move.
I like it.
Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel. I mean, I moved Tyler Boyd down, but he could easily keep Tyler Boyd.
I like Deebo. I drafted him last year, but I don't know. Is he a keeper?
You were too early again.
I wasn't too early. I knew what he was, but I'm not going to wait on a receiver because you have to burn up a keeper spot for at least 2 or 3 years. And he just wasn't that good of a receiver for me. He wasn't a hold on to 3 years guy. Julio Jones was a hold on for 2 or 3 years guy. Mm-hmm. Deebo just wasn't for me. I don't want to waste a keeper spot. I mean, now he probably would have. No, he wouldn't even have got on my team this year. Who am I going to? Maybe Rodgers if you drop him. But anyways, I'm. Who do you like better? I mean, Carlos Hyde.
Cooper Kupp's got to go. Cooper Kupp's a flex player that I'd like to have on my team as spot starter. There's just so much going on there, and I feel like they're going to redefine their identity. Deebo Samuel is hurt. I mean, there's no way you drop him, but I'm not.
Let's address the elephant. Christian McCaffrey. Powell has an opportunity right now with Christian McCaffrey. His stock's at an all-time high. You're not getting any fucking higher. Can he perform again this year like he did last year? Probably not. I've had top running backs. Le'Veon Bell at his peak did not perform the same next year. It was close, and then it's just down from there. Christian McCaffrey can only perform at that level for maybe another year. If he's sold,
it's just receiving.
He could restock everything. His team could have an entire new look, and he could have depth through every single position with guys that are averaging 15 points a game each instead of one guy that's at 30 points and the rest that are at 6. He's got a huge opportunity here to move McCaffrey, and I don't know if he's listening to offers. I really don't.
Let's stir the pot here, Dorian. I'm going to tell you right now that CMC, I believe the exact wording was something along the lines of I'm considering opening the floodgates for CMC. So
really,
anyone out there, like, I'll just stir the pot. Like I said, anyone out there like Jake with the 1-1-111, Loudon with the 1-2-1-7, Silva and Nielsen with the 1-4-1-8-1-12, Dorian with his multitude of twos. Valdez has a regular draft. Chad has stock and draft picks. So listen, CMC is a receiver and a running back in the same position. He's like the guy that plays catcher and pitches. He's at the best 2 positions, and he's good.
Tell me how this doesn't make sense. Jake gives Miles Sanders to Cody Powell. Cody Powell is a fucking Philly fan. So McCaffrey goes to Jake. Sanders goes back to Powell, who, again, is a Philly fan. And Jake gives him a fucking stock of picks. 111, 22, 223, 224, 3 for Powell's last 11, 10, 10. Powell's draft ends in 9 now. He's got a very capable running back in Miles Sanders, and Jake comes in and shakes the league up, landing to McCaffrey, and he still keeps his 1-1.
What does that do for Jake?
It's an instant competitor.
Instant competitor.
Instant playoff player.
I'd say no, Dorian. That was probably the best match made of the night. That was literally.
That's the trade. They need to talk it. I mean, whatever. The picks can change a little bit here or there. Maybe Powell wants to get into the 1-1 too. Maybe Jake wants it, but if I'm Jake, I'll certainly take a McCaffrey over the 1-1. But I think Powell could do a lot with that, change the entire dynamic of his team, and I think both teams would be better. I think Powell's team becomes a playoff team if he has depth, and I think Jake walks into a playoff spot with fucking Jacobs, McCaffrey, Ridley, Smith-Schuster, and then Allen ? You can do something with that after.
I wonder if that kind of trade could happen. I'm just looking at the multitude of that. I just sent Jake a picture of what I sent for Tyreek Hill. He wanted to see the type of blocks that we pull off in this league.
Yeah,
So
I know Jake's very happy with the action in the league so far. So
good.
Let's see
it.
Let's move. Let's move on. I'll call Jake live on air and we'll get the fucking deal done. But Powell, Powell's scared to make a big move like that, I think.
Let's move to Craig.
Yeah.
I want to look at Craig's team. Mix in AJ Green, Aaron Jones, Keenan Allen, Kenyon Drake. He went from a pretender to a contender overnight. He's got how many running backs? 3 running backs and 2 receivers.
How many running backs is he dropping?
Don't do anything, Craig. You've done well, my young Padawan. Let's go to Adam Rose. Rosie, you've got age like 2 to 3 years worth of age cheddar buildup.
Can we get someone to run an average age of the keepers? Because that would be very important.
I mean, they're bordering on old age security, bro.
Oh, yeah.
They're no longer able to invest into their RSPs.
Le'Veon Bell's legally dead.
But honestly, we've got Gurley, Bell, Breeze, Michael Thomas, DK Metcalf. So you know what? He did actually lower the average age by bringing in DK. I love the move. You guys did that move. I love it. Michael Thomas is arguably the best receiver in the league, and he stacked Breeze with them. And then he's got 2 guys in Gurley and Bell that we
force that down his fucking gullet with a plunger.
It was good.
It just was like, I needed to do something to have a different look on my team. Mm-hmm. I thought it made sense for him. He can drop Breeze if he wants. I don't really give a shit. Metcalf,
the only other thing would be Ronald Jones, right?
Yeah, so he kind of fucked up by trading too early for that. But
I think it just made sense. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Let's jump to my brother. So Cody's keeping the stack of Mahomes and Kelsey. Nick Chubb, Kenny Golladay, and Cortland Sutton. He's dropping Phillip Lindsay. He's dropping Devontae Parker. He traded for Sutton, so you could really see he was in bad sorts before he made that trade.
Yeah, I like Golladay. Mahomes, Kelsey is a stack. Cody's got one issue here. He's too top heavy. He's not going to be a winner. He's not going to be
He knows it.
He does know it because he actually came to me telling me, he's like, I realized I need to rebuild my entire draft, so I need to get rid of my top end picks or my top end players and have more depth. It's a lost cause. He's going to keep those guys. He's going to roll with them. I mean,
and it's not a bad move, but I've said it to him. You're too top heavy. You're 1 to 2 pieces away, and so you either have to draft well, which it's tough to draft well when you're 3 and then 7, 8, 9 or 7, 8, 8. Yeah. But I think this year, honestly, if I'm being honest with you, Dorian, his keepers are better than they've been. That Sutton upgrade, Sutton and Golladay are similarly ranked players, and I think that they both have weak winning capability. I don't think he has a league winner. No. I think DK Metcalf is a league winner. When Rosie brings a guy like DK in, I think that's league winning potential. He could literally be a top 12 to 15 receiver.
Cody completely dismissed Metcalf. Because the trade back, he's going to get Rodgers and Metcalf. And I said the points that Rodgers and Metcalf are capable of putting up are probably very similar to Kelsey Mahomes, except he was getting a fucking slur of picks. I think we were at 1-2-2-2. And so, I mean, that changes everything for Cody. I mean, that's 5 picks in the first 2 rounds.
That's
plus he's got a capable quarterback and a good. But anyways, that trade's behind us. I don't know if Cody will do anything. I don't know, Chubb. I don't know how you feel about Chubb. I actually really like Golladay. You can't not like Mahomes and Kelsey, and Sutton's good. Chubb, really, I don't know, is he an RB1 that's going to win you a championship? No, not really. He's okay. I think he's been an overproducer, but I guess we'll see. I could be wrong on him.
So let's move to Valdez. He's got Henry, Eckler, Watson, T.Y. Hilton, and he's keeping Jordan Howard. I'm saying it to you right now. I'm going to throw it out there, JV. You should be trading. You should not be keeping Jordan Howard. That's disgusting. It makes me want to. It makes my guts tingle. It's not nice. Like, see. But no, seriously, Tyler Lockett's available.
Go call Rosie and get Ronald Jones. Plug him into there.
Yeah, hey, and Rosie.
He's just looking to fucking upgrade.
Valdez, trade for Ronald Jones. Do it. Do it. That's a man, Dorian. You were made for this game, man.
All right, Chad.
Chad's got
Allen Robinson, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, and Russell Wilson. Russell's one of those bubble guys. He's a beast. I don't know. Do you keep him? I guess.
He keeps Marlon Mack. He needs to keep Marlon Mack. Anthony Miller. I mean, Russell's great, but I think it's because he traded for him the one year, and now it's like
He doesn't want to
Trade
lose.
for him? Anyways.
Chad, I like Marlon Mack. I'll consider maybe doing a play on Marlon Mack. I will consider that.
Trade for David Montgomery.
Who?
Chad, trade Reynolds for David Montgomery right now. Do it. Make it happen. I mean, he's keeping. Looks like he's keeping Zach Ertz.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like
that. That's my top pick.
All right, so Chad needs to drop. No, Chad needs to get rid of one of his drops. Reynolds needs a running back.
Yep.
Valdez, you can also go get Mac from Chad, which would be much better than Jordan Howard.
Mac needs to be kept. The fact that Mac's not being kept, it's the JT fear, but everybody needs to wake up. That they have no preseason, no camp. It's just now.
Yeah. Running backs rarely step in and make impact. You got to be prepared to hold a rookie running back for 3 years.
I'm hoping I can get my hands on Mac at 19. Because people are sleeping on him, and let them. I'll take him. Don't worry.
Now that we've just
I'll
pumped his fucking tires, he'll be gone before Sunday hits.
Well, let's flip over to Reynolds, because Reynolds had a bone to pick with you. He left that lengthy subscriber complaint on your Facebook page.
Yeah,
and
he did.
And so let's look at his. Was it justified? I don't know. Let's look at this. So he's keeping Chris Carson, Mark Ingram, Mike Evans, Adam Thielen, and I believe he's keeping David Montgomery, but he's got Zach Ertz in the spot. So he's he's dropping Brashad Perryman, Corey Davis, Traquan Smith, Alshon Jeffrey, and Dede Westbrook.
I don't know what the situation is on Al Jeffrey. I can't speak to it. Is he healthy?
I'm pretty sure he's recovering from a Liz Frank, and he'll be back sometime this season. So
this guy's been a Band-Aid since he came in the league, but
I had him on my 2013 championship team.
Okay, Montgomery needs to go.
Chicago.
Chris Carson, I hope he plays well for Reynolds. Seattle, run-heavy team, coming off hip surgery, meh. Mark Ingram, contract year, only thing working for him, crowded backfield. Mike Evans, getting old, but he's got Tom Brady. If they can find their timing, he's going to be good. Adam Thielen, I don't like him for one reason and one reason only, and AJ already knows that reason. I don't like white receivers. They're just as good as they are. They're usually – I just don't like them. I know that's probably the wrong thing to say in these political times, but – I just don't like them. I just don't like them. They're just not good. Zach Ertz.
I feel like they hit the skids earlier. There's something about the recovery time. I don't know. It's obviously genetic. We don't have as much fast twitch fibers as the more athletically gifted of us, And so I see a guy like
pop. They're like
Jordy.
Very good, quick. Jordy Nelson. Perfect example. Exactly what I was thinking of. They pop and they're done. They pop and they're done. Or you get a guy like Cole Beasley who's just like a fucking slot guy forever. Or Julian
Who was the
Edelman.
Cleveland running back that was on the cover of Madden like 2012? Peyton Hillis.
Peyton fucking Hillis, yeah.
1 year, bye.
1 year Madden cover, and then you're just a fucking pig. Like, you literally are a farm animal. Reynolds, go get yourself a fucking running back. Forget Ertz, forget Montgomery. Mac available, and
listen, he needs to drop Ertz. He needs to keep David Montgomery, or he needs. Listen, I keep coming back to it, but like
Montgomery's.
Go get Phillip Lindsay. Go get Marlon Mack. Zach Ertz is a tight end. He's like honestly, okay. Dallas Goedert, it's his time. Ertz might not even be the best tight end on their team.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Moving on, AJ Wilson. Stack, the cream of the crop, the champ. Lamar Miller, Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. Here we go. What would I do different? You've done pretty good at getting rid of all your drops for picks and turning them into your drops. Your draft is decent. It's probably better than it normally is for you, really.
Oh, Dorian, I've got the 2, 3, 4. I'm not used to that stuff. I need to start doing some more mocking.
If I was you, I would move Devontae Adams to me for some picks and let me get a stack, and you can get creative with your picks and go get a guy you like.
Why don't I just
and you can keep Lockett, who you're so fucking high on.
Why don't I just pre-order the fucking the nameplate for you, Dorian?
You think that's it? You think
6 months early?
If I get Adams, you think it's over?
I've never had to face that.
If I offered you the 1, 3, the 2, the 2 on air, are you saying no to it? The 1, 3 overall and 3, 2.
No. That's an instant no. That's an instant no.
Odell Beckham Jr. in that.
I just don't see subtraction as being the way to add, at this point. Listen, Dorian, I'm going to say it on live air right now, okay? I'm saying it to everyone, including you.
Wow.
After the draft, I will make big boy splash moves like I always do, and keep your phone on because you're going to be one of my first lines that I drop.
If I landed,
Reach out.
I'm
going to reach out, try and touch.
Coming hard for Tyreek too, but that never happened.
Tyreek, man, honestly, there's tons of chats to have. So we've run pretty long here. So I want to have one more bump here. So we've moved on through everyone, and there's one last thing we have to cover. The potential COVID changes. So I know we brought it up last time, but I want to get some feedback on this. So I read about the additional IR slots that are being made available. And so what I would like to do is just really get an idea, the barometer on how many.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that. What I'll do right after this is I'll put up a post and see and see what everyone says.
I mean, we don't really know how rampant it's going to be yet, but
well, and that's exactly it. Like, there's no bubbles, right? So I'm assuming it'll be sort of like baseball, where like it'll maybe hit a team and then it'll be done, and then I'll hit another team. So I'm just hoping that what we can do is we can have some additional spots so that you're not having to drop good players because they have COVID.
Yeah,
you can just park them, replace them for a couple weeks, and then yeah. So this is what we'll do. What I want to do every week, Dorian, is this new piece called the IR Saviors. So we're going to be those IR Saviors, and we're going to share some breaking news or some recent news on NFL players, just so that everyone is gifted with the same information. So the first one that I'm going to kick off with as we leave here is the Montgomery groin. He's out for 2 to 4 weeks. It was originally reported that he was going to be out for the season, but he's got a bad groin strain that'll be 2 to 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Sony Michel, he's back from his foot injury.
Yep.
So it looks like he's going to get the lion's share for now, but anything can change. I don't know how conditioned these guys are, but AJ Green, he's back running.
I hope he does good. I'm rooting for AJ Green.
Your boy Debo, he's missing the rest of the week, and Brandon Ayuk is missing the rest of the preseason with a hamstring. That 49ers receiving core is decimated right now, so that might drop Kittle's stock and a few others, including Garoppolo. Mixon's dealing with a migraine, and Kenyon Drake is in a walking boot. So,
how do you feel about Drake? You like Drake?
Yeah, I really do. I think that once he got his shot, he took it, and I don't know if you're a Cardinals fan. I think he just kind of made out well. So we'll see. Okay.
All right, is that it? Any more housekeeping items?
I think that's it, boys. Let's make sure to. How many people have paid you $100?
One. Well, one. Not including myself. If I count myself, 2.
Well, and obviously throw me in the hat there.
You're there, 3.
We got 3 paid. So we had 9 guys. So I'm not going to use any names yet, but we will next time. So the draft is this Sunday at 7:30.
What's the plan for draft? Is it just bubbles? It runs on Bubble. Yeah. You know what? I have a Zoom account. Why don't we all Zoom into each other and draft live?
Well, I was going to open a room on the Facebook page, but either or, we'll gauge the interest here. Let's throw a couple of text messages out and see how it looks.
Sounds good, man.
All right, boys. All right. So thanks for joining us. You'll catch us next week, next Thursday, and
it'll be post draft.
Catching you up. Post draft.
Yeah, a draft report.
Looking forward to it, boys. Take care. Cheers.
Take care. Bye.